Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Imagine the scene. It's June 22nd. It's day 2 of total freedom. You got a bit of a hangover from the day before, but it's game day. England are taking on Czech Republic in game 3 of the European Championships group stage. It's 12 months late, but it's here now. You've got your smartest gear on, no more lounging about for you, and you're off to a potentially packed out Wembley Stadium to watch the Three Lions. Or you're off down the pub, getting there early to secure prime position. Or you're getting things set for your friends coming over. Beers in the fridge, crisps in the bowl. If they want pizza, order it yourself. But what if I told you the 23-man England squad could only have one player from each club? Would you choose Marcus Rashford or Luke Shaw, Jordan Henderson or Trent Alexander-Arnold, Charlie Wyke or Lee Burge? Okay, maybe he's not. But that's the deal. This is my 23-man England squad for the European Championships using just one player per club. Let's go. Burnley, Nick Pope. Right, the England goalkeeping debate has raged on ever since Jordan Pickford made his first mistake after the 2018 World Cup. He was outstanding in Russia, but since then he's been more concerned with a possible kickboxing career or maybe even a shot at the WWE title. I think Everton have got a few good English players, so therefore I'm going to ignore Jordan Pickford and give the number 1 shirt to Nick Pope. He's going to be our Burnley representative and I think we're in safe hands. When he's on song, Nick Pope can be impossible to beat, and who knows, maybe he is good with his feet when he doesn't have to just pump it along to Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes and all his elbows. Right, before we go anywhere else, I am contractually obliged to tell you all about FOTMob. FOTMob is the only app you need to keep up with world football. Get live scores, detailed stats, goal notifications and breaking news from more than 350 competitions around the world. It's free on iOS and Android, so check them out. Anyway, back to today's video. West Brom's Sam Johnstone. Right, for my second choice stopper, I'm going to go for Sam Johnstone. While the bloke is destined to be relegated, I think he's one of few West Brom players who can hold their heads high and be proud of their performances. Not Semi Ajayi, who clearly had somewhere else to be on Saturday when he inexplicably handled the ball at Turf Moor last weekend. Christ, that was a dull game, I really need to get out the house. But anyway, back to Johnstone. The Baggies number 1 has been impressive all season, even if he has picked the ball out of his net more than anyone else in the Premier League. Watford, Ben Foster. Right, just hear me out, okay? The third choice goalkeeper isn't gonna play. Unless there's some sort of global virus that only wipes out Premier League goalkeepers, Ben Foster shouldn't have to play. But he's experienced and he's a good character to have in the camp. Plus I'd love to see the GoPro footage when Harry Kane lifts the European Championship. Atletico Madrid, Kieran Trippier. Right, considering I'm picking just one player per club, Kieran Trippier is a no-brainer. While there are a load of great right backs in the Premier League right now, they come from teams where there are a load of other options. But for Kieran Trippier, the closest thing he's got to an English teammate is whatever fleshed Luis Suarez gnawed from his last visit to these shores. Trippier is a sound option at right back, and if he recreates that glorious free kick against Croatia, then I think the forecast will be set for rain and beer and tears. Brighton, Tariq Lamptey. Okay, so I'm making a bold call here and ignoring both Trent Alexander-Arnold and Reece James. But I've had a look at the bigger picture here, and there are other Chelsea and Liverpool players I want to include, so our backup right back is going to be the Brighton speedster who'd give the pissing Roadrunner a run for his money. Although at least Lamptey doesn't have an actual coyote committed to ending him like the real Roadrunner. Wolves, Connor Cody. Right, moving on to the centre backs, and I think because of the lack of English teammates, Connor Cody is a no-brainer. But that doesn't mean Cody doesn't deserve his place in this squad. The bloke's got a good chance of going to the actual Euros, in a squad where there's no restrictions made up by some daft kid on YouTube. I'm not a kid anymore, let's be serious. Cody's a leader at the back and comfortable in possession, and gives Jamie Carragher a weird sensation down below whenever he intercepts a cross. Everton, Michael Keane. Right, so I didn't want Jordan Pickford, and I decided with the quality of English strikers, we can give Dominic Calvert-Lewin the summer off too. Maybe he can spend some time working on his hurdles. But from the Toffees I'm going to go with Michael Keane, a man who's had a real turnaround since Carlo Ancelotti arrived at Goodison Park. Particularly in the Merseyside derby, Keane was exceptional, proving that he's back to his best, which is what got him in the England squad in the first place. Crystal Palace, Gary Cahill. Technically, Gary Cahill never retired from international football. Back in 2018, Cahill simply backed away from the national side and said he wouldn't play unless there was an injury crisis. Well, there's a crisis here, Gary, and your country needs you. Despite being 35 years old, Cahill is still up to the standard in the Premier League and will bring great experience to this mishmash from England squad that can't include Wilfried Zaha because we're completely buggered up his England career. Absolutely useless. Roma, Chris Smalling. Right, I'll give you a wee insight into my mind right now. I found this team so hard to assemble that I very nearly had Ashley Young as the backup left back. Then I realised that Young is actually 35 years old and that Chris Smalling also plays in Italy. The former Manchester United man is no longer the calamity he was at Old Trafford and has actually rediscovered his best form at Roma. It hasn't been good enough to get him into Gareth Southgate's side, but it's enough to get him into mine. And honestly Chris, who would you rather play for? I once managed a Sunday League team to a respectable mid-table finish, I'll let you know. Man United, Luke Shaw. Sorry Marcus Rashford, but you are not going to the Euros, but at least that means you can focus all your attention on doing someone else's job for them. From Man United I'm going to go with Luke Shaw, a man who is playing his best football and is currently the best left back in the country. This is the real Luke Shaw who burst onto the scene at Southampton all those years ago. Shaw is looking back to his real best for the first time since that horrendous leg break, seemingly no longer having sleepless nights because of the treatment of a certain special one. Aston Villa, Matt Targett. Christ, I'm making some controversial decisions here, but sorry Jack Grealish, you're not going to the Euros either. But I think when you see the attacking options in this side, it's understandable that the floppy-haired flyer misses out. Villa have actually got some great English options to pick from, and in defence they've been particularly impressive, so the man I'm going to go with is Matt Targett, who's never actually played for his country. But he's having a wonderful season and deserves to be in the conversation for the actual Euros squad. I mean, he won't make it, he's probably better off trying to find some distant Scottish hand, and even then he's got to get past Robertson and Tierney. Leeds United, Calvin Phillips. Right, it's time to move it in the midfield, but with a small eye on the defence, as our next two players can actually play at centre back as well. Actually, our next three can. But more on that in a moment. Leeds have been one of the success stories of the season, even if a lot of people get triggered by the praise they get every time they lose a game. They've just came up and are 10 points clear of the bottom, whilst playing entertaining football. They deserve all the praise they get. But for this team I'm going to go for Calvin Phillips over Patrick Bamford. The Yorkshire Pearler was the key behind Leeds' success, well other than Marcelo Bielsa, and was an immediate choice for this one player per club England squad that I'm building, for no apparent reason. West Ham, Declan Rice. I mean, I know Jesse Lingard's playing well, but he's technically still a Man United player, and even still there was no way he was getting in this team ahead of Declan Rice. If I wasn't picking Grealish, I had to include Rice, and we've got to ruffle some feathers, haven't we? We've got a brand to protect. Liverpool, Jordan Henderson. It's a big call, but for Liverpool I'm going to go with Jordan Henderson over Nathaniel Phillips. And Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent's having a tough season, while England needs someone like Jordan Henderson in the middle of the park, someone who can force the issue, go box to box, win back possession. Some of you might be too young to remember, but once upon a time Jordan Henderson was actually a centre midfielder, not just a makeshift centre back doing his best to ensure he doesn't have to lift the Premier League title for a second time. Chelsea, Mason Mount. I think a few people might disagree with this one. Some will say I should have picked Reece James, others will say Ben Chilwell, some of you might even say Olivier Giroud, but those people really need to get themselves back to school and knuckle down on their geography. I just think out of all those players, not Giroud obviously, Mount can have the biggest impact on games, and in the positions that other players operate in, we've got good options. But Mount links the midfield to the attack, he can score goals, and he's proven that he's not just a teacher's pet as he continues to thrive under new boss Thomas Tuchel and not his stepdad Frank Lampard. Manchester City, Phil Foden. With the way Phil Foden's playing, he needs to go at the Euros. I'd have him in this squad over the reborn John Stones. Yes, Stones is playing brilliantly, but can he do it without Ruben Dias holding his hand? I'm not sure. Therefore I'm going to go with Foden, who had creativity to this midfield, as well as an option of playing out wide. Or am I just being really stupid and forgetting about Raheem Sterling? Borussia Dortmund, Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho was absolutely nailed on for this team. Yes, Jude Bellingham's a great talent, but he's nowhere near the level of Sancho yet. Of everyone in the squad, this was the easiest decision. Arsenal, Bukayo Saka. Then again, this one was quite easy too. Even though Martin Tyler gets a bollocking off his wife for calling Emile Smith-Rowe the Croydon de Bruyne every time they were in bed, there's no one in the Arsenal squad who deserves to go to the Euros more than Bukayo Saka. And if you can only pick one player per club, the need for Saka is even greater. He's been Arsenal's best player this season, even if he hasn't had that much competition. Leicester, Harvey Barnes. James Maddison's a brilliant player, but there's no one in better form than Harvey Barnes right now. Honestly, if I was a right back and knew I was coming up against Harvey Barnes, I'd 100% call in sick. I bet that's what Ahmed El Mohammadi wished he did last weekend. Fulham, Ademola Lookman. Right, we're running out of teams to pick from. I feel really bad for not choosing someone from Sheffield United, but Aaron Ramsdale's not a great goalkeeper, and their best centre-back, Jack O'Connell's injured. As for Fulham, they've got Ademola Lookman, who's technically still a Leipzig player. But he's been great this season bar that penalty that I promise I'll eventually stop talking about, and he's a decent backup option from out wide considering the lack of choice remaining. Newcastle United, Callum Wilson. Newcastle don't have much, but they've got a damn good striker. Wilson scored 10 goals this season for a team that actively avoided attacking. That's pretty damn impressive. If you've got to pick someone from Newcastle, there's no way it can be anyone other than Callum Wilson, especially since Mike Williamson doesn't play for the Magpies anymore. Southampton, Danny Ings. While we might need a James Ward-Prowse free kick to save us deep in the competition, we need depth up front even more, which is why Danny Ings has got himself a place on the plane to Wembley. Could probably just get the bus, to be honest. I bet it won't be that expensive either. Bargain. And finally Tottenham, Harry Kane. I mean seriously, who else is going to lift the European Championship this summer? It's coming home, lads. Whether it's this weird squad with rules and regulations or just the 23 best English players today, it's coming home. So there we have it, that's my 23-man England squad for the Euros using just one player from every club. Let me know yours in the comments below. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, I'm at HITCJames. Don't forget to subscribe to HITC Sports if you don't already. And until next time, we will see you around.